So what I want to say is, first thing, you're going to want to be in a quiet place. So that's going to be super important for you to get the most out of this. Second of all, we're going to be here for around 60 to 90 minutes. I'm going to try and keep it on that lower end of the side of the scale, but we can we'll do what we can. Pen and paper is going to be super crucial as well. So if you haven't, I'm going to give you about 60 seconds to go and run and dash and get one. Also, as well, I'm gonna mute all of you. As much as I love you for coming over here, I'll be the one running the masterclass. We'll give you guys an opportunity for talking at the end. I'm just going to message my assistant so that she can help me out with this side of things as well. Can you delete all Zoom stuff that we're not set with? Cool. We're good to go. So no distractions, kids, phone. Obviously, if you've got your kids on you, I'm not going to say like, hey, like put them in the garbage can or whatever you guys are going to do. Like just try and be as present as possible for this. And I want all of you guys to set an intention. So in order for us to do that, we're going to take 4 deep breaths. And this is something that I do on all of my calls. Not only with masterclasses, but something I like to do with my group calls, stuff that I do my one-to-one clients, because ultimately then we can set an intention for what you guys would most like out of this. So wherever you are, if you've got the opportunity to do this, please do so. If you're driving, please don't close your eyes and breathe. But also want to see all of you lovely faces out there. I don't want to see any lurkers. So I can see Nadine, I can see Sam, I can see Joe, Yvonne, Jennifer, Kelly, Katie, Chris, Tesla, Deb. We can see a lot of beautiful faces over here, which is awesome. Chris, you're on here and you're sending me stuff. So I want to see all of your beautiful faces while we're doing this. So like I said, we're going to close our eyes. So everybody give yourself an opportunity right now to close your eyes with me. And we're going to set an intention. You guys are going to set a 1-word intention. That could be anything that you like. It could be productivity, could be super execute, could be busyness, could be whatever, but we're going to set a 1-word intention. And with that, we're going to close our eyes and you're going to fully exhale. And we're going to go in. And out. And in. And out. Nice and present, setting this intention, bringing it in. And out. One more here. All the way in. And out. Good work. Good work, guys. So we're gonna crush this. And before we start, I'm just curious because I don't want you guys to be lurking in the background. I want this to be as interactive as possible for you guys, because the more you interact, the more you're gonna get me hyped up. If you've ever been on a group call with me, like these things light me up because I'm like charged in a social environment. It's like putting an extrovert in a loud environment. It's like somewhere I thrive. So what are the 1-word intentions that you guys have got before we get started? So put them in the chat box. Tools, join, drive, focus, presence, productivity, presence, power. Love that. Love, love, love. Execution, learn. That's what we're here to do. We're going to learn today. Is there anybody that hasn't dropped in their things in here? Healing, consistency, execute like a boss. I'll call you guys out. Stephanie, have we got one for you? Learn. Susan, we got one for you. Wicked. Okay, that said, let's dive in. So what we're going to cover today, first of all, introduction into who I am. I'm sure some of you guys know who I am, but it's always good to catch up. Number 2, super executing. We're going to go over the 3 key pillars to super executing. I like to call them the 3 standards because 2 S's, standards for super executing, just sounds better. 3, offers, anything that I have coming up that might benefit you guys. I don't want to be that coach that's going to kind of like hide behind presenting an entire masterclass and then be like, hey, I've got this, by the way, but that's not going to be what this is about. It's just going to be a short thing. And then prizes and question and answer. So I clearly haven't done that with the masterclass. This happens every masterclass. There's always one mistake. And this is the thing that is huge about super executing, is realizing that not everything is going to be 100% with what you do. You guys aren't superhumans. Neither am I. And it's okay to make mistakes here, but it's all about carrying on and going forward regardless. So Bruce Lee said the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. So that is going to be an embodiment of what we practice and preach today. And really, introduction, i.e. your coach today is me. I'm Luke Anning. I used to stay in my car and work 2 jobs, and then I worked 12 to 14 hours every day for 18 weeks when I started my business. So I'm very much somebody who knows what that busyness can feel like. I'm someone who used to say that he was productive, but wasn't productive because I was working such long days. I have the bane of productivity, also known as ADHD. So some of you guys might feel like you have that. You might not know what that is, but it really pickles my attention span. I can end up going a little bit sidetracked with some of the things that I do. I'm a badass business confidence coach. I have a top 2% podcast that puts out 2 to 3 episodes every week. I've got a 5-figure a month coaching business and have coached over 250 people via group, like sessions like this. And I've had over 52 one-to-one clients that include single moms, starting entrepreneurs, experienced CEOs, coaches, and consultants as well. So I'm here to give you the 3 pillars to becoming a super executor. And if anything is landing with this and with you guys, I'm definitely going to get you guys interacting as much as I can. So 143 minutes. I want you guys to put in the chat what you think this means. So what do you think 143 minutes is? Who can guess what this is? We're going to get some answers here. What do you guys think this 143 minutes is? This is like pub quiz right now. I don't have options for you guys. So let's get creative. What have we got in the chat? Max amount of time one can focus in a day, maximum focus span during a day. How much time of productivity we need to reach a goal, our day. Yeah, you guys are really, really close. You're really close. So let me bring this up. So this is according to Voucher Cloud, this is the average amount of time an office worker is productive a day, which is 143 minutes, which is about two and a bit hours. So I think it's just important to recognize that, like, sometimes in people's office work, and I know this was the same when I worked in my event sales and management office, there were aspects where we were really productive, and there were aspects where we were just chatting. We weren't really doing that much. And I think oftentimes as humans, we say that we want to live this time whilst we're on earth. We say that we want to have this massive, amazing impact on everybody else. But are we really doing that if we're only spending 143 minutes being productive? Yes and no. So I've got another one for you. I promise this isn't going to be a pub quiz the entire time. So 23,725. First of all, what I want you to do is guess what this is. And then I'm going to give you an equation to work out for yourselves. So quick few guesses. We'll see what we've got. First 3 win. Who can guess what 23,725 is? See what we got in the chat. Minutes in a month, average yearly income, time we spend on our phone. Okay, so let me help you guys out. What you are going to do, all of you, is you are going to take your age. So for me, I'm 25. And you're going to times that by 365. So whatever you have here now, like take your age and genuinely like multiply this while you're here. If you guys have got a calculator, great. If not, you can, if you're a super wizard at maths, maybe you can do this. If you're like Matilda. Okay, now that you guys have got that number, whatever that number is, you're going to subtract that from 32,850. So for me, for example, I'm going to calculate. I've got 25 by 365 equals 9,125. And I'm going to take that away from 32,850, which gives me 23,725. So the reason why this number is important is the number that has come up off of you minusing your age times 365 away from 32,850. These are the amount of days that I have left until I am 90 years old. And seeing as most people don't live until they're 90 years old, this is like this is a hardcore number. And the reason why I wanted to bring this into the equation is I feel like it's important to be productive because I know I have a limited space and time on this earth in order to create the change that I'm seeking to create. So for me, it's important to be productive because I feel like I have a responsibility while I'm on this earth to do what I want to do. Now, some of your numbers might be more than mine. Some of yours might be less. And I think it's also important to realize that, yeah, like we are all going to leave this earth and go to a different realm in whatever you believe in at some point. So it's super important that we are productive with our time, that we are using our time and giving ourselves an opportunity to spend time with those that we do love. I think something that I realized during that 18 weeks of hustling and bustling was I'm not giving any time to anybody else. And I feel like I'm doing all this effort and I'm doing all this work and I'm still not reaping the results. And because of that, I'm losing out on time with people that I love. So I've got like grandparents that are like plus 90. So like I go and see them weekly because like, I don't know how many days they've got left. So it's the same for you guys. Like, I'm sure you want to spend time with your family and your loved ones, and you don't just want to be busy all the time. So it's important you're productive so that you do have the time with the people that you love as well. So anyhow, 3 standards to super executing, and these are going to be the 3 key standards to embody if you are to super execute on your day. So the first pillar is mindset. Now, some of you may be mindset specialists already. Some of you might be wherever you're at. And I want to appreciate that some of you guys might know some of the things within this presentation, within this masterclass, but I want to also challenge you and question you as to, are you actually doing that? And is it that a tick box, or is it like, oh, okay, like I still have some things to work on? And that's super important to recognize as just a beginner's mindset, is that you can always learn and you can always change as well. So standard 1 is mindset. So you guys have been programmed from the ages of 0 to 7 with your mindset. You've got a set of beliefs which are created in your subconscious mind. What I would say your subconscious mind is if we take Sigmund Freud's iceberg example, your conscious is your tip of your iceberg. This is where you're consciously listening to this. You're able to think of regular things. Like you have a general set of beliefs that you consciously know what's going on. Your subconscious are ultimately everything funneled underneath that has been previously programmed. These also include habits. These also include some sexual traits as well. But most people change their external and focus on the conscious things, but they don't focus internally on their subconscious, which kind of lies in the productivity roots. But it's going to start with awareness. Now, understanding with awareness is like the first pillar to self-growth. Because as soon as you become consciously aware, then you can consciously make the change. And then over time, you'll change your subconscious. So apart from the picture and realizing that I'm the second shortest person somehow at 6 foot tall in my family, your subconscious is programmed, first of all, largely by the people that brought you up in this world, i.e. your parents. So what are some of the most common things your parents did or said when there were things to be done? So let's say you guys had some tasks to be done in the household. Was it, oh, you can leave that until tomorrow? Was that, oh, we're always busy? Was that your parents saying, oh, I have 1,000,001 things to do and I've got to look after you? I'm sure you guys are getting some little bits of awarenesses here. And that's important. So recognizing, maybe even writing down in this moment, what are some of the most common things that your parents did or said that when there were tasks to be done? So I want you guys to just take a moment here, write down three things if you've got them, that you're aware of what your parents said to you around time, around being productive, around busyness, around just general tasks. Or maybe your parents always left things to last minute. I'm not going to call my mum out here, but like, she's always late. So let's just bring up some awareness. And I'm curious for you guys in the chat, because I think this is really important. Within any group setting, we're always going to learn more when other people express what they've gone through. So if you guys are open to it, maybe dropping in some of the things that your parents said or did into the chat. Let's all just put like one thing in. I'll put one thing in as well. So get it done now. I can imagine that was said with some urgency. Just a little bit. Yeah, mine was too busy, not enough, distracted, not enough money. Yeah. I'm going to put one in as a fucking always late. Can't give your family what they need without money. Okay, mum was more proactive than mum. House responsibilities, mostly your load, and you couldn't do anything fun or practical until things were completed. Mum was always frustrated when there were things to do with lots of sighs, throwing things again, and just feeling the energy that was a burden. Always chaotic. Mum's severely ADHD, so there was never a sense of prioritization. It was always whatever hit her at the moment was to be done right then. Dad, you don't need friends. Nancy, I want to appreciate, thank you for being so open and honest with that. So we learn things initially from our parents, right? I'm not exactly sure what that means, Nadine. I need to do the ho. But anyhow, from there, you have got now your own thoughts based on what used to happen. Sometimes you're the polar opposite to your parents. You might see them being super chaotic with everything. So you may have developed an aspect of needing extreme control in your life and needing to say, like, I need this done then, I need this done then, I need this done then. That might have made you a really integrative person. You know, somebody I was talking to a while back actually didn't have the presence of their mum or dad around when they were younger, which meant that she was the one who had to deal with everything. So it means that in business, she's an amazing manager, but it's because she's had to control everything within her life. So what are some of the thoughts that you're having awareness around yourself recently? So I want you guys to think of like recent tasks, recent projects that you were doing, even like finding time for the gym or finding time for working on your coaching business or finding time to do things with your kids. What are some of the thoughts or things that you were saying? And are you starting to see a similarity between your parents? Candace, there we go. I appreciate you being open with that. Nadine and Niels, I needed to do the household because dad was lazy. Money comes to the front of my mind instead of actual coaching. Yeah, sometimes even around doing tasks like financial management. Your parents may have been like super last minute with taxes or like super last minute with paying bills. That comes down to an aspect of productivity as well. So now what are the effects that these have been having? So this is just causing some awareness here, guys. I don't want you to judge yourself. This is awareness, because if we got awareness, it means we can change it. And that's a fantastic space to be in. So we've got our parents' initial programming, or perhaps certain experiences, or perhaps your siblings. And then you've got your own thoughts of what you've recently had as well. And then you've got the effects. So how has this actually affected how you felt towards tasks and projects you have currently? Have you felt stressed? Have you felt frustrated? Have you felt calm? Like, there could be lots of different ways that you feel around doing this. Like for me, if I put too much pressure on myself, I will procrastinate to the last minute and I will do everything to the last minute. Like I remember like at university, I literally was like getting presentations in with like 30 seconds to go. This one I did well in advance. You'll be happy to know. So just getting some awareness here. So timeline of your mindset so that you guys have got an understanding of where you're at. Scarcity. So Nancy's saying scarcity mindset driving me rather than abundance of love and help to give. It's great awareness, Nancy. Thank you. So you've got your past original programming from your parents and your past experiences. And that, when I say past experiences, that can be how you were taught at school as well. 2, we've got currently what you're doing. Number 3, just having to think about this, like future pacing here. If I carry on going on like this, what does that look like for my future aspects? Like, let's say like you guys you might be in a blessing of a spot where shit hasn't hit the fan. But if it does, like that might just cause like a total breakdown because I've got no control over my productivity. So everything's always busy. So I've got no space for anything else. But number 4 is this diversion. And this is what I want to create for you guys as mindset while we're here, which is how do you want to feel around the tasks that are coming up? How do you want to feel when you've got a busy week? Busy week. I'm going to say that in quote marks because even saying busy is part of your mindset where your sticking point is. Like, how do you genuinely want to feel? So step 1 is awareness, which we guys have already got. We've got step 2, which is diversion. And in order to reach diversion, there's kind of 2 questions. And you can write this out while we're here. Just how would you like to feel around upcoming tasks? So you guys can drop this in the chat. It might be just one word. But how would you like to feel around upcoming tasks? Nadine said relaxed, confident and powerful, energized, purposeful, accomplished, amplified. Hell yeah, Chris. What have we got, guys? We're at 19 of you. We definitely haven't got like 19 comments in this box. Like your highest self. Awesome work. Empowered and freaking excited. Confident I'm organized enough to accomplish what I say I will. It's just nice to just step in. Love that, Joanna. Okay. Next question is, how can you get to that point? Now, you might already have an idea of what that looks like. You might think, oh, you know, I'll probably change some things, probably do some things here, probably do some things there. I think that's the most beautiful thing about coaching is realizing that a lot of the time you guys already have the answers within you. but sometimes it takes a facilitator, i.e. myself in this case, to bring that out of you. So how can you guys get to that point? Not stressing myself out with small things, rewire, hell yeah. So there's a lot of different things that we can do, right? But sometimes you can get into something called productivity porn, where you're just pulling it all in. Like, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. And we actually leave ourselves in a space of overwhelm where we've got so many different things that we could do, but we don't end up taking action. It's like why so many people like struggle with the whole fitness thing. It's like, hey, do keto, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, do that. It's like, dude, like, what do I actually do at this point? So in order for some mindset pointers here for you guys, in order for you guys to get to 100% super executing, I think there's a few things that are worth touching base with. So first one is really going to be this idea of like, you're human. Like I said this earlier, you won't get everything done. But we put this massive pressure on ourselves and expectation that like, oh, well, I've planned this today and I've said I wanted to do this today, so I have to get it done today. I'm sure that feels really good at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, like things aren't always gonna like for example, like when I planned to do this masterclass, I was like, oh, it took me an hour and a half. 4 hours later, here we are. You got to be ruthless as well. So you got to keep those distractions to a minimum, including other people. So I was actually talking to one of my clients, and she was building up for a move, and she was like, oh, well, we keep having people come over and like, it's really distracting me from work. And I was like, have you set up a time where like people know to not just come over? She was like, no. I was like, we got a distractions problem. Focus habits are really giving you the tools to expand your attention capacity. I've reached a point somehow where I say somehow, I'm going to teach you guys how to do it. But by the end of the day at 7 p.m., if I want to work till 7 p.m., I still have the same energy that I have at 10 a.m. And that's not because I've done anything drastic. It's because I've embodied the things that I'm going to teach you today. So standard 2 is super executor skills. And I feel like these flow into 5 different points. So we've got calmness, we've got ruthless, which we talked about earlier. We've got tools, we've got opportunity, and we've got prioritizing. So these are all certain skills. Now, these could have different aspects. These could be different mindset pointers, different habits. But I feel like if we categorize these things, then we're going to understand where we're at with them. Now, we're going to do a little fun exercise. So as we go through this, you guys are going to give yourself a 5 out of 5 rating for each one of these. And I'll explain it as we go through, but you're going to give yourself a rating for calmness out of 5, ruthless out of 5, tools out of 5, opportunity out of 5, prioritizing out of 5. As we go through this, don't just start doing this because you guys are going to start thinking up like random things when I haven't explained each skill. So starting off, calmness. Before we dive, I forgot I put this quote in, but it's really important. So I know some of you guys want to achieve incredible things, but recognize that people don't decide their future. They decide their habits, and their habits decide their future. This is like one of them hard-hitting quotes that hit my soul. So that's why I wanted to put it in here. But calmness. So in order to achieve calmness, I think there's a few different things that you can do. But really for me, calmness means like, am I in this Zen state? So when I'm coming on to this masterclass, like I was earlier, when I saw something wrong in my masterclass that I hadn't adjusted, was I panicking? No. And why wasn't I panicking? Because I've taken the aspect to focus on my calmness. So one of the things that you can do is exercise. Are you working out at least 3 times a week? Are you eating healthy? Are you drinking water? Are you going out for walks? Are you choosing to focus on everything you have or just on one thing at a time? Are you meditating? It can be really challenging as an entrepreneur or somebody who's a busy mum or wherever you're at in your journey, when you have a lot of tasks on your plate, to just focus on that one thing. Because when you focus on everything, that sense of calmness is not going to be there. But if you can funnel it in and focus on one, then you have clarity within knowing what you're going to step forward with. This is like my mum yesterday. Like, she had like 40 tasks to do around the house, and she was like leaving things all around the house, and this like really frustrates me. But like leaving a plate out here rather than putting it in the dishwasher, and then saying, oh, I'm going to move to this task, but also having not finished the last task. So we multitask, and that doesn't induce a state of calmness. That's going to leave you stressed because you've unfinished a lot of your tasks. So calmness out of 5 rating. Don't put it in the chat yet. Just have it there, have it ready. We've got ruthlessness or ruthless. So the biggest, most helpful thing that I've ever done in my entire life is turn off the notifications on my phone. So if you haven't done that, like, this is your opportunity to do it. And then the second aspect is focusing on me. And that's going to be really challenging when you're a coach and your center focus is on helping others. But like, I'm so focused on me, like the old version of me, you could get a response from me at any time in the day on any platform like this. And some of you know this, and I want to sort of apologize, but not apologize. Like, sometimes you might not get a reply from me if you're not my client for 3-5 days. It's like that. You'll get a business reply from me in like 3 to 5 working days. It genuinely is like that, because I focus on what's important to me and for the people that are under my wing. So ruthlessness within your environment, like when you're at work, are you leaving yourself open to other people? If you're working from home, have you set those boundaries to say, hey, I'm working from home and I appreciate you want me to do the washing, or I appreciate that you want me to do this or that, but I'm at work right now. And if I was in the office, you wouldn't be able to ask me to do this. Like, are your like parents or friends or whatever coming around in the middle of your workday? And then we're wondering why we haven't achieved what we wanted to achieve, because we haven't set boundaries with ourselves and we haven't set boundaries with other people. So you have to be ruthless. Tools-based. This is cool. I like this one. So organizing skill. Do you have systems for organization? Like, do you have like a calendar? Do you have like different filing cabinets where you put all things in one space? Or are you one of those people that has like 30 different sticky notes for like every single different thing? And because we have a lot of these different, what I would call collection points, we have a notepad, we have notes on our phone, we have sticky notes everywhere. We have an abundance of different places where we're processing information, which means when we do want to write something down for organization, we're lost. We're like, oh, do I put it on my sticky note or do I put it on my notes? And it means, again, we have tasks that are left undone, and these add up in your mind and are going to stress you out. Very much productivity is also a huge amount of stress relief as well. And then number 2, like, where do you collect all of your thoughts? I think this is really important because there's been a few mentors who've taught me this, but if you imagine like one ant gets into your picnic, that's not going to be a problem. But like, if you imagine like 5 or 6, it's going to be pretty annoying. But if you imagine like 40 to 50 ants at your picnic, that's your picnic ruined. And my point being, if you have like a lot of negative thoughts going on and you allow them to fester, it's going to be a mess. You're going to be super stressed. So like, where do you collect all of your thoughts? Or like, let's say you have an amazing idea. Do you put that in like a special place? Do you have like a select place where you put those amazing ideas that you come up with? Or just little tasks to think of for later? Or do you have 50 different things? it's going to be important that we start funneling these down. Prioritizing, or the prioritizing skill. Multitasking makes you less intelligent. There was a study by Hewlett Packard, like the software company, and they analyzed the out of their employees, they set some of them to do multitasking, some of them to monotask. I don't know why, but they also entered in a sample group of people who smoked marijuana that same day as well. And then they did an IQ test at the end of the day. And the people that were monotasking were most intelligent. Second came the people that had smoked cannabis, i.e. were still high at this point. And third were the people who'd been multitasking. Multitasking is not something that's serving you. You need to monotask, one thing at a time. Monotasking is the way. 2, we've got setup cost. What I mean by setup cost is, let's say I want to do some work on my laptop. I've got to pull up my laptop. I've got to pull up Google Docs. I've got to work out the exact type of thing that I'm going to focus on. That's my setup cost. There's an aspect to setting up that costs me in energy. The same with if I've got to make phone calls in a day, that still has an aspect where I've got to type in the phone. And these are tiny things I appreciate, but these are important. Because if I'm switching tasks too many times in the day, or a lot of times in the day, I'm going to get decision fatigue, which is ultimately, as you go through the day, you're going to be able to make less and less critical decisions. And this gets made worse if we have to keep setting up and changing. Oh, I need that online banking password. Oh, I need that password for that site. Oh, I need this, I need that, I need this, I need that. Rather than just saying like, hey, what if I made a list of all the calls that are due to make, and I made all of those calls all in one point? Or what if I knew I was going to do some, let's say, for example, Instagram content. Okay, I'm in Instagram content mode right now. I'm just doing that. That's going to minimize your setup cost and give you more energy to do other tasks throughout the day. Yeah, I can definitely send you that that study, by the way, Katie. Now we've got opportunity. So a lot of people get into something called the planning fallacy. So we look at our calendar, and you guys definitely would have done this. So if you guys have ever used a calendar, you think, okay, I've got this day. This is probably going to take me an hour. This is probably going to take me an hour. This is probably going to take me an hour. And you stack your calendar like completely, like the calendar's stacked. And that's great. Looks cool. And is also super motivating when you start. But as you start going along, you'll start realizing certain tasks are taking longer than you thought they were going to. Like this masterclass, I thought it was going to take me an hour and a half, and it took me 4 hours. So you start realizing, oh, like I'm actually overcommitting to myself here. But the same can happen as well. You might be the go-to person in your work environment where you're the ace person at, say, photography, and you've already got a lot of photography projects on that you're like stacked with. And you might go to a meeting and someone says like, oh, like we need some extra photography work done by the end of the day. Oh, yeah, Joanna can do that. And you're there in a position where it's like, well, I could do this, but I've already got all these projects on. But okay, I'll commit. And because I've overcommitted, stress levels go up. And because the stress levels go up, I feel worse. Then the thoughts start flying. And then I'm not as productive because I'm not in flow. I'm stressed out. So it's important with opportunity, also only committing to things that are really worth your time and looking for the opportunity to double up. So what I mean by that is like, let's say somebody invited you out for coffee. Hey, like I haven't seen you for 10 years. Like, let's catch up. Or the same can be like, some of you coaches might recognize this, but I got this a lot where it's like, hey, like, dude, can I like hop on a call with you? I'd love to, but at the same time, can I get this conversation done in a voice note? Because a phone call is a big commitment. And the same for you guys. Like, does something need to be a whole day event with a family member? Or could it be, hey, let's meet up for like an hour? Like, I appreciate we want to see people for a lot of time, and that's going to, you might feel a certain way around that, but I think it's important to look at the opportunities you have. Or like, let's say your friends go, oh yeah, let's all go to a festival and let's do that. That'll be great. Or let's all go to this event. And you're feeling like you don't really want to commit to it, but you say, oh, well, I haven't seen my friends for a while. Like, I'll go. And like, you have a great time, whatever, but you're not really getting the benefit out of it that you would like. So that means that you've got less time to do the things that you intended to want to do. Last skill, preparedness. One, this first aspect is somebody that I would say is a super executor. And then the second side is somebody who I would say is not a super executor. So a super executor is practically and mentally prepared for upcoming events. So that might be like, okay, I've got all the details down. I've got a podcast I'm doing in Bournemouth in a few months, in a few weeks. I've already got all of the information I need for that. And I'm already set up and researched for it. Super executor knows the go-to procedure of what to do when all things go wild. Because things do go wild. I'm not going to bullshit here. Like, shit does hit the fan. So you need to know a procedure of what your go-to is to not fall off the track. And then 3, super execute is also trusting and playing the long game with projects, knowing that you'll be successful in the long run. So sometimes this can happen in coaching businesses where like people want really fast results. They want things to happen in 15 days, 30 days. Things don't happen. And then they don't want to do it anymore. I've been there. That's not the productive way to do it. Ultimately, you're going to want to trust that it's going to work out eventually, but only if you are continuously consistent and productive with what you do. So on the flip side, we've got no system for knowing when events are happening. We're last minuting everything. When shit hits the fan, it really hits the fan. You've got nothing to prepare yourself with. And number 3 is constant self-doubt, fear, and end up procrastinating because of it. Like, oh, like I need to make this money by this time. And then I'm sat on my phone scrolling. I need to do this by then, but then I'm not wanting to get out of bed. I'm seeing some laughing going on in the background. I get it because I've been here. Like I feel you guys. It's like the same with like parents, right? You might say like, oh, I've got to get all this done by the time that my kids are ready, or by the time that my kids have got this, I've got to have everything done. And you're maybe procrastinating, you're stressing. And it might work in the short term. I'm not saying it won't work in the short term, but you're not going to be able to do that every day. It's going to stress and burn you out. If you're in the wrong mindset, guess who you're going to be resenting? Because of your ego, you're not even resenting you, you're resenting your kids. So like, that's not a good space to be. Your lack of preparedness has meant that you're blaming other people for your problems. It's not a good place at all to be. So now that you guys have got some scores down, I want you to think of the scores that you've got now. You're going to add them all out of 25. So if you're a 5 out of 5, you're a thoroughbred super executor. Then I want you to average out the numbers that you've got. So once you've got that number, whatever that's going to be, you're going to divide it by 5. So total up your numbers, then divide them by 5. And I want to see what we've got in the chat, where we're at on the super executor scale as such. And guys, as well, give me a hell yeah in the chat if this is going well, if you're enjoying this this masterclass. Sweet, I appreciate you guys. So what numbers do we have? What numbers do we have, guys? We've got a 3.6. It's okay. This is non-judgmental. Remember, we're not judging ourselves. This is awareness. 3.8, 1.6. It's okay. 2.5, 2.4, 3.5. Joanna, 4. Love that. 6, 2.6. 3.6. Awesome. 2.8. Cool. So now what I want you to do, just right next to it, right next to your number. And I don't want to make this super crazy because like I said, like I'm not here to overwhelm you guys. Like the point is that we're going to make incremental improvements. What's one thing that I'm intending to do? I'm making this up on the spot because I can't help helping you guys. So what's the one thing that I would do? And it could be within any of the skills that may help me get to the next level up of the number. So let's say you're 2.6, that would be getting you to a 3. Let's say you're a 2.8, that would be getting you to a 3. If you're a 3.7, getting you to a 4. If you're a 3, it might be getting you to a 4. Okay, good stuff. Preparedness, trusting. I just want to value how open you guys are being here. Vulnerability is such a strength. Up my ruthlessness, preparedness. Focus on the ruthlessness, not letting other people change my priorities and plans. Ruthless. Use the systems I've set up for organization. Hell yeah. Awesome, guys. So it's really important to recognize now that we've got some awareness, monetize, prepare, take time to de-stress, prioritizing what's important way more than I am right now, following my structure systems. Awesome. So we've got a super executor score, and that's okay. Does it hugely matter where we're at right now? What's important is we recognize where we want to go. Trusting yourself on the path, and when doubt occurs, stay focused. Yeah, little sidetrack off of this. I read a book called Conversations with God, and it said that anytime that we feel fear and self-doubt and divert off of the path of our further route forward is because we are diverting against the will of God and what God's plan is for us. So if we listen to the self-doubt and divert an action because of that, we're choosing not to trust God. Little point on trust there, and Luke's spirituality journey. Okay, we're going to rock and roll and move forwards. So super executor standards. We've hit mindset. We've hit habits and stresses and skills. Scheduling. Scheduling, I feel, is the third standard here. Now, you might have seen something like this before. This is Google Calendar. It's my favorite thing in the world. I also have tons of different time zones on it because I work with people all over the world. But what I want to recognize with you guys stepping forward with your scheduling is that 60% completion is better than 0% planned. This is a bit of an embodiment from a lecture I watched by Dr. Jordan Peterson, where he was talking to students about their productivity and around the psychology around it. It's super important that you guys are going to be planned, because ultimately, like, winging it and growth isn't going to happen. And I'll tell you this story about the Victorian sewer system in a second. But what I want to brief in here is I've spoken to some of you guys. Some of you guys want to build 6, 7, even 8-figure coaching businesses. Some of you guys here want to really step up and give your families an opportunity to have more time for yourself, to spread more love within your family. That shit doesn't fucking happen if you're not planned. I speak to so many people who are like, oh, I prefer going with the flow. Personally, I'm going to just pull this out. Going with the flow has been manipulated from being in flow. That's how I feel. That's my opinion. Being in flow is like me on this presentation right now, me on this masterclass. I am in flow. But if I hadn't planned, like, when this masterclass was going to be, I hadn't messaged you guys and I hadn't used that skill for preparedness for it and just said, oh yeah, I'm doing a masterclass in an hour. Who wants to join? I would have been blessed if I had one person join. And that means I'm diminishing the amount of impact that I can have on this world, because I'm choosing selfishly to just go with the flow, because that feels less stressful, because I'm struggling with my mindset, because I'm lacking the skills of a super executor. So the story that comes around the Victorian sewer system is the same sewer system that was built in the Victorian times, is the same one that they use in London at the moment. So the Victorians actually built their sewer system based on expansion, based on growth. So it's the same for you guys. Like, you guys are going to want to build systems in now, like Google Calendar, like being prepared weeks or even months in advance for things in anticipation of things possibly expanding, so that I'm not, if shit hits the fan, going, oh my God, what's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? Like, let's say, for example, the Victorians just winged their sewer system. we'd literally be like in a pile of shit in London. It'd be a mess. It'd be such a mess. So the point is, you guys, like, I don't think you can ever be too prepared. There was a quote that I hated economics, but my economics teacher used to say from Albert Einstein, which was failure to prepare is preparing to fail. So for me, one of the most important skills is preparedness. So stepping forward is, how do you guys actually schedule? Like, drop in the chat real quick. Like, do you use like a paper calendar? Do you use Google Calendar? Do you not do it at all? I love Gabrielle Bernstein. I've got a book to read. From her. Phone calendar, iPhone calendar with alerts, Google Calendar, and Equity scheduling. Cool. Google. Awesome. So you guys are pretty there. Living into using the bullet journal method. Cool. Love that. You able to explain that a little bit, Danielle, in the chat? Is that like, okay, like, what have I got for today and what am I going to action on today type of vibe? Cool. Google Calendar for business, Outlook for work. Then I translate to bullet method, paper calendar up until COVID, iPhone calendar, dry erase for family. Nothing exists unless it's in the diary. Fact. I say that to like everybody. Like, you can't like even like, if you want me to do anything, it has to go in the diary. Cool. I love my remarkable for writing everything. Cool. It's good to know where you guys are at. So I'm clicking the button and nothing's coming up. Okay. So this is what I do every single week. I look forward 3 weeks and I look back 2 weeks with what's happened or what's going to happen. So this gives me a real broad scale to then understand what I'm going to start planning in my week. I've actually already kind of done some things. So I've got like a trip in America at like the end of October, but I've already got everything ready for that. Whereas I used to be like Mr. Last Minute. Like, literally my trip last year, like, I booked the flights like 3 days before. Then these are the questions that I like to ask. What are the most important activities within my journey right now? And is there anything that I need to prep for? And then after that, I'm going to schedule for my attention. Now you guys are probably like, what is that? I'm going to tell you what that is in a sec. Cool. Thanks for letting me know, Danielle. Appreciate that. So yeah, there's a few different ways. And I used to, just as a side note, I used to paper calendar, but it took one very rainy day for me to never paper calendar ever again. So I think that's just important to recognize. I'm not saying don't use it, but I'm just saying of what possibly could happen. Attention management. This is like one of the most favorite things that I've ever learned in my entire life. So you want to kind of schedule for creator and executor mode. Creator's the boss, executor's the worker. So obviously I'm kind of embodying you guys being super executors, but that also embodies your creativity side of yourself. In order to be a super executor, you need both. So you have to schedule accordingly. Scheduling equals creator mode. So like it's that pre-prepare, it's that planning side of self. Doing the work is executor mode. But you don't want to be in creator and executor mode when you're planning to do something. This is why I was talking about earlier, if I can remember, come on ADHD brain work. You don't want to be jumping task to task. You don't want to be having to think about the task that you're going to execute on. I like to explain this. I say this to every single one of my clients. Chris will probably attest to this. Is if I just say, I'm going to bake a cake, okay, that's okay, but I might feel a little bit challenged. The cake might go wrong because I haven't got any instructions. So creator mode is also about giving ourselves instructions to what we're going to do, like breaking down tasks. And I want to recognize here for you guys, time and the right attention equals something being done. Time and the right attention equals something done. So attention management, like I said, it's like my favorite thing I've ever learned in my entire life. And this is why I'm able to have energy at the end of the day that's stupid. Proactive attention is your fully focused zone. It's extremely important. You have about 2 to 3 hours maximum of this per day. Like that's it. Like none. Like once that's done, you can't get back in. The way that people try and get back in is I'm gonna have coffee. I'm gonna take substances to try and get myself aligned here. But that will leave you burnt out in the long run. So you've only got 2 to 3 hours maximum of this per day. Active attention is good, slightly flagging, occasionally brilliant, sometimes sloppy. That's how I like to label it. For me, that's like post 2 p.m. Inactive attention is struggling to get complex tasks done. It can still be useful, but it's like those button clicking activities. That's how I like to look at it from my perspective. Okay, like I've got to like upload a post here, or like I'm going to get like my washing done in this time. I'm not going to build like an entire freaking shed at like 6 p.m. because that's going to be complex and stress me out because I'm not going to have the energy to do so, or attention for that matter. So times that this can be different for everyone. And I think this is important to recognize here, and this can go day to day. But from what I've learned over my time by analyzing this, and I want you guys to also note down some times that are sort of aligning with you here. From about 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., I'm in my active attention. So active attention is that time. Some of you guys might be noting down. I think this is important that you guys actually write down what you're thinking yours is right now. Proactive attention from me is about 8:30 to 11:30. Active attention again, 12 till 2 for me, around 12 to 1:30. My inactive time is actually from 3:30 to 5. But I can do certain activities like running this masterclass that pick my energy up. But as much as I love you, all of you guys, like this doesn't take me a lot of thinking to do. This just flows out of me. I'm in flow. So inactive attention for me is from 2:30 to 5-ish. Then I get kind of a second wind of active attention, 6 till 7:30. By this time, I'm not always really working anyway. But what's important to recognize is thinking about what tasks might I plan in my days to put in between here. Now, this might be challenging if you're already at full-time work. But maybe this is something, and I discussed this with one of my clients, where like you can actually speak to management to try and get those bigger tasks done in that earlier stage of your days, those big rocks. And then that's going to give you more energy towards the end of the day, rather than trying to do that massive complex tasks towards the end of the day. It's going to give you a better space to do things. So Can I click back? Yeah, let's help you guys out. So what I want you to think of right now, guys, before we step into this, is proactive time. Think about the tasks in your day. What are my proactive activities? Is sending an email proactive attention? No, probably not. Could constructing content, if you're a creator, if you're an online entrepreneur in here, maybe that might go in your proactive time. Maybe if you have a podcast, that creation of the podcast might go in there. Small insert, you guys know when I do my podcast. But when you actually present it, are you in a different kind of energy? You're just doing at that point. You're not thinking. You're not needing to think as much. Then thinking about big decisions that you want to make. Like maybe I want to place that in my proactive attention. But do I want to be having calls with my best friend during my proactive time? No, because that's the only point of time in that day where I'm getting that type of attention. And this is where people screw themselves. They'll do something like go on their phone at 7 a.m. and they've already wired themselves up for wanting to receive short-term focus activities. This is like the bane of ADHD. But the worst thing that you can do, like I genuinely I don't talk to anybody until like gone 12 p.m. And I know if I can do that, like from 6 till 12, like I've got an astronomical amount of work done because I'm not focused on anybody else apart from me, because I know that time is so important, like so important, because I won't have the energy or attention to want to do that another time. So the same goes for you guys. Like if you're trying to create something big, if you're doing something outside of yourself, and let's say you only have 2 days a week to do this or 1 day a week because you work full time, thinking about your Saturday, Sunday. Okay, like my friends want to meet up in the morning, but okay, like could we actually reschedule for afternoon so I can just absolutely go for it, give myself the energy that I deserve and bring my attention in that I deserve to those earlier activities. Lots to think about here. So when you guys plan your days, when you're looking at your calendars in the week and you're thinking, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. Can you plan a little bit more effectively for your attention? Because in the long term, it's going to give you the energy back that you're seeking. And then a small note, just for ruthlessness, actually give your time a time to stop, please. Like I used to do this all the time. I would say I'd finish at 6 p.m. before I knew it was 10:30. But like actually stop, because you're going to have more attention and more energy to execute better and quicker the next day. This is why I'm able to get more work done, because I stop, I give myself rest. So we've got some things in the chat going on. Thanks, Joanna. Appreciate that. So I'm hoping that this masterclass has really helped you guys here. That was my intention. So the 3 things that I'm hoping, and if you haven't, then I failed, but I promise I'll make it up by the end. The 3 standards of super executing are: number 1, be aware of your thoughts of your past self and divert them to your new super executor ones within your belief systems. So rather than saying, oh, I just can't get anything done, or like I'm always busy, hey, let's change that up to like, I'm able to be productive and achieve everything. I always have time for me because I execute the tasks that I need to get done. Number 2, you've understood the skills that are necessary and you know what you'd like to do to implement to the next step of your super executor journey. Number 3, you've aligned your attention management to your scheduling so that you can get more done, or at least you're way better aware of where your attention is going to be so that you can schedule your tasks accordingly.